Welcome back, sitters. We are back for part 2 of year 4. We had some technical difficulties and we wanted some cake, but we are back. So,
Cake break.
Cake break.
Cake break. Thank you again, Trey.
That's really good. My God.
I told you it was pretty good.
I have no idea what the last thing they heard was.
Yeah.
I'll
No
sit
idea
there.
what the last thing you heard was. That's okay. We're gonna go with the start one, bench one, cut one, all in the prime. I hope you heard the ad read for Josh's Barbershop. If not, it doesn't matter. Go see him anyways.
Yeah, go see that guy.
Yeah, he'll change your life, honestly, though.
I basically just said if you have a guy, he can beat your guy. Like,
Pause.
I meant like in haircutting.
Said
Pull
what
the
you said.
graphic, man.
Stop eating cake for a second. Put the graphic. Oh, that was quick.
Read it, Joy.
All right. All in the prime. Start one, bench one, cut one. The three players are Calvin Megatron Johnson, Randy Moss, Terrell Owens. Start one, bench one, cut one, all in their primes.
All right. This is really tough. Bradford, you go first.
All right, I'm probably going to be crazy for this, but I'm going to start Megatron because I really liked him. I'm going to bench Randy Moss, and I'm going to cut T.O.
All right, I'll go next. I will go. This is tough. But start Randy Moss. I will bench Megatron. T.O. Gotta go.
Back-to-back TO cuts.
Yep, back T.O. cuts. Where you at?
Are you going with this, Tyler?
Yeah, you need to, Tyler, actually.
You're 4.
Okay.
Cake. Trey, that cake was good.
Start Randy Moss,
Yep, good call.
benching Megatron,
Yeah,
cutting TO.
that's the right answer.
Cutting him.
Quickly.
Cut.
Here's the locker room headache.
Yeah.
Nightmare.
That's what makes it a little.
Remember that time he cried for his quarterback?
I'm going to start
Locker
Randy
room.
Moss.
Yeah, good answer.
I'm going to start Randy Moss. I'm going to bench Terrell Owens.
Not so
Oh.
fast, my friend.
And I'm going to cut Calvin Johnson.
How in the hell do you cut Megatron?
His name is Megatron, Joey.
You guys are maybe a touch too young.
No, we're not actually.
Go watch Terrell Owens play football. Go watch him right now at 50.
His hands aren't great.
Can we just say the exact same thing about Megatron?
You could.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, these are
got legitimately
these are
double-
3 of the top 4 receivers of all time.
For somebody that didn't want a whole lot of cake, Brad.
Changed your mind, so y'all got me eating cake now.
I wish we could point that camera down. This boy is fixing
Get
to
up
try and
off me, Marvin.
sneakily.
Get up off me.
He was trying to cut that cake over there. By, dang.
Get up out of my area, Tyler.
Like we're watching the Blair Witch Project
Yeah,
right
no
now. What is
kidding.
going on
Yeah,
over
switch
here?
it. Yeah, Brad was trying. Brad did not want cake.
I didn't want cake. I wasn't going to eat any cake.
And then now Brad is going back for the slice at the same size of the cake. Are you going left side or right side there?
Doesn't matter. They're the same size.
Yeah, huge. Oh my
Really
god.
good. Anyways, give some reasoning about receivers and stuff.
Okay.
Why don't you?
I did.
I will. So Megatron was probably the first guy that I've ever seen get doubled like he was a gunner
At line of scrimmage.
at the line of scrimmage.
Yes, sir. You cut that guy. Holy
did.
crap.
He cut him.
Dude, you cut him.
Terrell Owens was such a crisp route runner, could do everything under the sun. He was a good route runner. He was a good route runner.
I don't know.
I'm telling you, go watch that.
For a receiver guy who loves clean hands, he didn't really have that. If there was one downside to that man's game, it was his
Maybe
hands.
later, especially early, not so much. When he was this picture right here in his prime, right there, where he was with San Francisco, his hands were pretty good,
Yeah,
I'm just
he spent
telling
a
you.
lot of years with Dallas after that, though.
Yeah.
and he was really freaking good there too.
He was too, but we're not talking about really freaking good anymore.
No, I agree.
No, we're talking about like the best of all time. There's Jerry Rice left off that list.
Right, because everybody knows
Yeah.
he's not getting cut.
No, we're not cutting him. We're not benching him.
I might bench him.
Yeah, I'm playing Randy Moss.
Yeah, I'm starting Randy
No
Moss.
matter what.
It doesn't matter. Randy Moss is my goat.
Make it a double.
Doesn't matter. Randy Moss is my goat.
Make it a double. Randy
If
Moss
we're-
is my
if we're
goat.
going Rice, so 2 things here. If we're going Rice, I would start Rice. Number 2, I just remember Joey had 2 pieces of cake, so y'all get off me.
Joey had bites
No,
of cake.
Joey ate his
Oh,
piece. Get him off me. Tyler, what are you doing? Put our expensive equipment down.
If you're not on the video, you should see this right now. Brad is getting exposed with the cake right now.
Stop exposing me.
Front Porch After Dark is never a place we want to be
Oh
again.
God, no.
Woo!
Look how much more professional that looks. Keep the
Randy
camera
Moss
on.
was so good his name became a verb. That's the truth. You got mossed.
No
They have a
doubt.
whole segment on ESPN.
Still to the to this to this day.
Anyways, yeah.
Tyler, leave me alone. Can I just enjoy this last bite like in peace?
You better wait till the cameras are off.
I have no issues with anyone that wants to bench Megatron and cut Terrell Owens. Just not. Just not what I'm going to do. All right, what's the last graphic up there?
We have no. It's audio, I believe.
Oh,
I
it
believe
is audio.
I believe it's audio, and the mics will be hot. We will be quiet while it plays.
Is there any way we could get that to play for the podcasters? Because
Yeah,
the
they
last-
never get to hear that,
The
can they?
last two they have not gotten to
I'll
hear.
figure it out.
All right, we're going to make it play for you. But basically, I'll preface it with it's Dave Aranda, the head coach at Baylor. Joey, what would you say? He's just being like ultra man's man or whatever? Like,
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know, man.
It's hard to read it. I'll be honest.
Really.
It was for me.
From a coaching perspective, I'll talk about how I feel about it when we're done.
Yeah.
Shout out Brandon Leslie. Read that while Rolf gets this ready,
Yeah.
Brad.
Ain't no. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brad.
Brad.
Oh, he said, ain't never heard of someone getting riced, but getting mossed, though. Someone getting riced, though, that's not bad either.
But he never did that, though.
Because he didn't jump over anybody.
Yeah, he ain't mossing you.
No, all he did was
Yeah.
route you to death.
Yeah, he will route you to death. He will catch you everywhere you want to be. All right, you got it ready?
Yeah, I'm gonna just dump it on there.
All right, we're going to shut up. We're going to let Dave Aranda speak.
I think I probably was too lenient with guys, and I think I probably tried to help too many guys that I think probably needed, maybe a tougher version of me. I probably gave too many guys chances that were probably taking advantage of me or those chances. And I think, I go back to those times, though. It's like, you're trying to, I don't know, man. I struggle sometimes where it's like, I don't know if all the wins from the previous year kind of just makes you think that you can fix all the stuff. I hope that's not the case. I don't know if that is, though. But, I think when I go back to it, you're locked in, and it's like, dude, I'm trying to help this person. And I'm trying, he's got to get over this or get over this hump or do this or do that. And I think in the midst of that and the helping of him, the so-called, I guess, helping of him, I think there's the hurting of the team. And, it's a big lesson for me. I think
Yeah, so I want you to go first and kind of summarize what he was saying, Chris.
Basically, he went about they had a lot of successes one of his first or second years there at Baylor.
At Baylor.
He's from LSU. He was the DC at LSU. Very, 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 very good. Very extremely sharp.
Yeah.
Went to Baylor.
I think the first year they were very successful. The second year not as still successful, but not as successful.
I think in what he was basically saying, essentially, we were hoping all of you heard it, but if not, essentially he was saying that he wishes that maybe he would have potentially done things a little bit different. Like I think maybe he was a little too lenient, trying to save or help players who needed the help, Joey.
Right.
But ultimately, it caused the team's overall demise, where they all kind of saw maybe like they could slip a little bit, or rules may not be implied, or maybe flexible. He was very candid. I think that's the part that I like.
Right.
He was very, very blunt and straightforward in saying that I maybe have made a mistake. Like I maybe didn't do that right.
Right. Yeah, so I think there's a fine line, and I think it's really hard to find that line. I think that there has to be some leeway with certain players in certain situations. I do believe that. That may not be popular in today's world with the old heads, and that's fine. I don't really. I mean, everybody's got their own opinions, and your opinions are going to maybe different than mine and yours and Brad's and Tyler's and whoever's. I think there's a fine line though, and once you start to cater to that other side, the side that has the least amount of people, once you start catering to that side more, is when you start to lose that other side that has the bigger majority of the team. You know what I mean? Like once you start catering to the crowd that quote unquote needs to be saved, and you start catering to them more, the group that's doing everything the right way and doing it the way it's supposed to be done from day one, and you don't have to worry about them, they don't get the same attention, which is what he was basically saying. I think
Yeah.
they don't get the same attention that they deserve.
Yep.
And
Go ahead.
it's okay. Just to summarize, but it's very hard to walk that line, and it takes. He's been coaching for a long time.
Yeah.
But he hasn't been a head coach.
Correct.
And it takes time to figure out like where to draw the line, where like if there is a line to draw. Maybe you're a hard ass the entire time that you're there. Maybe that's what you feel is right, and maybe he'll turn into that. But once you cross that line and say, okay, well that's not what we're gonna do. We're gonna kind of wiggle the rules a little bit. It's hard to unwiggle those rules then.
I agree. I think it's best put like this. I think what Jake Kennedy in the chat said, appreciate the honesty, but that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I co-signed that.
I do too.
But I think it's weird too because we don't get to see a whole lot. Like we don't get that because that's damning. Like that is literally saying I'm wrong, I messed up. Here's what I will say though. I've been to millions of coaches clinics, and I have derived my own philosophy and thoughts on how things go and how they should go. We're gonna want to clip this at 10:19 because I think it's not just me. I'm regurgitating what I've heard. But like every single roster that you think about that you've been on, team that you've been on, group that you've been on, sales team that you've been on, class. Like with the class of 2008, whatever, 2014, whatever it is. Every team, every group you've been on, it can be broke down like this. There's 10%, then there's 80%, and then there's 10%. So you have your top 10%, right? Those are your overachievers. You can always count on them. They'll never, ever be late. They may not be the most gifted, physically gifted, but they're the top 10%. You want the rest of your team to be like them.
Right.
Then you have like the body. The 80% of your team.
The majority.
1,000%. They can be pulled to the top 10 or they can be pulled to the bottom 10, right? So in coaching, like, and at least in my opinion, and people that are way better at this than me, you have to try and reach that the bottom 10%. Because what you have to do to the bottom 10% is very simple. It's very, very simple. You either have to make those 10% very early, get with it, or get gone. Because you will not operate in that bottom 10%. It will not exist in a program, right? And every year it changes. Every year there'll be maybe people slide into the bottom 10. There may be like it doesn't matter, but like that bottom 10% is the one that you have to move.
Right.
You have to move them into the group. You have to move the entire group to the top 10%. But that bottom 10%, if they're not willing to get in line and be like-minded, they got to go. Because if not, they'll poison your water. Like one drop, that cake was really good. One drop will poison the water, and then it's over. And then you lose your entire locker room. You lose your entire roster. You lose your entire class. You lose your entire sales team. You lose whatever it is, like your workforce, whatever like world that you live in. There, we all know them. Mm-hmm. We know them. Like in our day-to-day job, like as an educator, there is like top 10%, and I'm like, man. They always do what they're supposed to do.
Right.
Like, they're awesome. And then there's a 10%. I'm like, man, they're literally just getting a check. They don't know what they want to do with their life. They're not sure they want to be a teacher. They're just here for a check.
Yeah.
And same thing, Brad, I'm sure in construction, you have, like, the overachievers, and then you have, like, the people that drag their behind.
Right. No, I absolutely agree with everything you just said. And it's sometimes it's hard, especially in high school. Right, or even in college, like where Mr. Aranda is.
Yep.
Like it's really hard to put those things in perspective.
Yep.
Because you do want to help everybody. You want everybody to be like saved. You want to save them. Like you just.
And that's what he was saying.
Right. You want so bad for the bottom 10 to be where they need to be. You really do. Like that's your ultimate goal always as a coach.
Yes.
I want this guy that may not come from the greatest of families or may not come from the greatest situation and may like the streets a little bit more than they like the game played or whatever the situation is. Everything's a little different. You always want that one to succeed the most.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you do maybe spend a little bit more time or maybe bend the rules or maybe, if I let this person go, what's going to happen to them? Yep. Right, and that's a conversation that you always have to have as a coach.
Yeah.
If I let this person go from my program, what happens to that human being?
Yep.
Where does that human being go from here?
Yep.
Do they make a? And Nick Saban talks about this. And he talked about the kid from Michigan State. I don't remember who it was now, but he's like, I could have let him go and whatever, but I knew what was going to happen if I did let him go. So he was able to bring that guy back and then elevate them to the 80%, and of course eventually gets drafted and blah blah blah. It doesn't always work that way.
No.
And so sometimes you do have to let that said person go, and you have to let them do their own thing. And you can't always have that guilty conscience of this person's going to be, if I don't or if I do let this person go, what's going to happen to them? Like, you have to just let it go. And because is that one person more important than, let's say, like baseball team, we have 21 or 19. If we have 3 guys that are bad teammates, is that going to hinder the other 16 if we keep them?
Yes.
And the answer is yes.
Yep.
Like,
And
it is.
I think that's what he alluded to. Like, that's
Right.
what he said, is that, like, I think I tried to save some people, and maybe I didn't, and I didn't set forth boundaries and do the right thing for the majority.
Right.
And that's tough. It is tough. But at the end of the day, as a coach, I didn't ask you to be there. I didn't ask you to steal that wallet. I didn't ask you to steal that money from your teammate. I didn't ask you to do this or that or the other, whatever it
Right.
may be. I didn't ask you to do that. I didn't ask you to show up late. I didn't ask you to do those things. There's consequences for that.
There has to be.
And if there's
There
not,
absolutely
then
has
this
to be.
thing doesn't run. It doesn't work. It won't work with you. It won't work without you.
Right.
But people that run great programs, they'll tell you, like, this program, everything is bigger than you, is bigger than me. And so you either get in line and be like-minded, like your teammates and your brothers, or you have an option. You can get out.
You know what? There's a saying that Dad likes to say all the time at work, and he'll always say, "You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink."
Right.
But he also goes further than that. He said, "Because a horse that don't drink can't run, and I have no use for it."
That's 100% true.
I love that.
I do too. I
love
absolutely do. Brandon Leslie said, you see it all the time. Guy gets kicked off the team 1 month later, felonies / prison time. Absolutely agree. On the flip side of that, though, Brandon, I've seen many times where a guy gets kicked off the team or gets cut at the beginning of the season, and the team goes on a run after that because that one person can just suck other people down onto their level without even knowing they're doing it, and then the other people don't know that it's happening either. But it happens all the freaking time where bad apples can bring other apples in there with them.
It works. That's how it goes.
Makes it worse.
Every
Like,
time.
Every time. So like that, and that's the hard part about coaching. That's the hard part about coaching at any level, really. But like Brandon said, you always that thought of prison time, death, drugs, whatever the situation
As a
is,
coach.
it's always like, man, if I cut this kid, or if I run this kid off, or
Yep.
if I do something to make this happen, like I feel responsible for that kid's future.
Yep.
And
that is the hard part.
And that's the hard part.
Yep.
But you also have a responsibility to everyone else on the team, whatever sport you coach or whatever profession you're in. You have a responsibility to everybody else on your team to do what's right for everybody.
Right, and that's the thing.
That's the hard part.
That's the part that I think that I can resonate with is like whether it's a business or a company or whatever the case may be, a team, a program. It was here before you got here. It'll be here with that, like after you got here.
Yeah.
Like we can't allow those things. Like
Right.
That's some of that stuff can't be allowed. That I think Dave Aranda was saying, which is very, very, very unique. That doesn't typically happen. Coaches, especially at his level, to say that they made a mistake
Oh,
or
100%.
that they would do something different or even question themselves publicly at all. Much less, well, they don't question themselves like privately, but much less publicly like that. So, bit refreshing, bit odd.
Yeah,
But-
I would like to know the question behind it.
Yeah,
Like,
I didn't hear the
how
question.
how it led up to that
How do we-
conversation.
How did we get there?
Yeah,
I agree.
I would like to kind of go back and research the rest of that video,
Mm-hmm.
or the rest of that presser, just to see how it got there, because it was an odd answer, but also, like you said, it was refreshing because it was the truth. Like sometimes you make a mistake as
I think
a
he
coach.
told the truth. I think he
Yeah.
told the truth. I can respect that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that either.
All right, well, we got anything else tonight, guys?
No, I'm gonna try and go to Florida.
Yeah, we got it.
I'm gonna try to go to Florida tomorrow.
Oh, so should have some great content next week.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to go watch. Hopefully, get to go watch that practice live. So I'm gonna try to get over there. I know at some point this month, within the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'm gonna try and get over to Florida State as well.
Let's go.
So we'll deep dive into spring football. They're just now getting the pads on,
Right.
and like getting and going and getting like the depth chart like set. And
I have a feeling next week's going to be a big week for football. for
Both.
us.
Yeah. Next week, next show, we didn't hardly talk any college football.
None.
Next week though, we will.
Yeah.
Next week we will.
Well, that's great. Hey, thanks so much for joining us for 4 years, guys. If you're still here, really, really thank you. But to everyone that tuned in tonight, even if it was just for a minute to be with us in our 4 years, we really, really appreciate it. Hope you'll keep tuning in with us. That's going to be it for Night Sitters. This has been Bradford Douglas along with Joey Edge and Chris Martinez with producer Rolf, and we are Front Porch Sitting. See you later, or see you next time, Sitters. Wow.